Hello everyone, and here we have a new story. Before we get to that, I want to ask you to subscribe, like, and be sure to write comments in order to participate in the development of the community. Write how to improve my community, current topics in the stories you are interested in, and much more. I read and listen to all the comments. People write me stories by mail from different countries. There are problems with translation. I apologize for this. I will work on it and try to fix these errors. I want to thank everyone for their support and the people who wrote to me by mail, broadcast news stories. New videos on my channel are published once every 2 days at 7 p.m. Don't forget to put a bell in order not to miss new videos. And now let's go. Hello, I want to tell you my story. I am 33 years old. My ex-wife is 32 years old. We have 2 children, 1 child from my wife's first marriage. My second daughter, we got married in 2011. I asked my wife about the reasons for the divorce in a previous marriage. She replied that her ex-husband did not let her go anywhere. They were arguing about it and he hit her. After that, my wife left him. We started building our relationship and everything was very good. I bought an apartment and we got married. We lived together like in paradise without scandals and quarrels. As time went on, we tried to have a baby, but we couldn't do it. It worked out over time, but something went wrong. My wife has a frozen pregnancy. We had a very hard time going through this moment in our lives. A week later, my wife quit her job. As it turned out, she was fired by the director of the girl because of jealousy. We're trying to have a baby again. Everything worked out for us. A daughter was born. We lived like everyone else. Nothing special. My wife did the housework and looked after our child. I worked and helped in every way I could. 3 years have passed. My wife has been staying at home all this time. We sent the child to kindergarten, but my wife did not want to look for a job. She worked part-time as a freelancer, but the earnings were very small. According to her, it would be better if she worked at home. If the child got sick, she would not have to miss work. Well, I think she should do as she sees fit. The eldest daughter goes dancing. I pick her up after work and take her home. Suddenly, I was offered a promotion, but I have to go to the regional center. The position is good and the salary is much higher. We decide with the whole family that we should take advantage of the moment, and I agree. A month later, my wife wants to study for a driver's license, to take children to kindergarten, school, and so on. I think it's a good idea, because it will be much more convenient for me if both of us have driver's licenses. In general, my wife started her studies. From that moment on, I began to notice my wife's strange behavior. She didn't let go of her mobile phone. I became interested and I waited for the moment to take her mobile phone and check it out. She went to the shower and left her cell phone on the couch, but her mobile phone was password protected. At that moment, I wondered why she set the password. I decided to ask my wife why she set the password. My wife replies that she is texting with her friend. She set a password to protect the phone from our youngest daughter, because she's small and presses all the buttons. The answer was quite convincing, so I didn't pay much attention to it. Besides, my wife told me the password, but after a while, I took her mobile phone and the password is already new. I'm asking, why did you change the password? She replies that my youngest daughter somehow guessed and inadvertently entered the old password. I didn't believe this nonsense because our daughter is 3 years old. One day, I took my wife's mobile phone. She jumped up from the couch and ran to take it away from me. This behavior of my wife alarmed me. After a while, my wife decides to open a store for 2 with her friend. She borrowed money from her relatives. My wife tried very hard, but it didn't work out. She had to close the store, but the debt remained. In general, my wife is taking the driver's license exam and I'm buying a second car. She now drives and picks up our children. I took the car on credit, and my wife's debt has not been repaid yet. My wife periodically asks for permission to go to a party with her friends, but I won't let her go. The spring of 2017 has arrived. I come home from work and go to dance lessons where my daughter was studying. I meet my wife and she tells me that she will spend the night with her mother. I don't understand why she decided that. My wife tells me that she does not understand what is happening to her. According to my wife, she wants to ask her mother for advice. In general, she wants to spend time in a female company, cry, drink wine, and so on. This situation alarmed me. My wife was very upset. As a result, I sat in the car at my mother-in-law's house until 12 a.m. As soon as I saw that the light in my mother-in-law's house went out, I left. At night, my wife texted me that everything was fine. She was going to bed. A week later, my wife calls me at work and says she will spend time with friends in a cafe. I don't hesitate to let my wife go. I thought she was depressed and needed to unwind. At work, I received a bonus and paid off my wife's debt. My wife didn't even thank me. A couple of days later, my wife tells me before going to bed, after our eldest daughter performs at the competition, she will file for divorce. She also said that she doesn't love me. For me, these words are like a knife in my heart. I let out a tear. I know I shouldn't have, but I couldn't help myself. I tried to convince my wife to change her mind. I started saying that we have children together and they should grow up in a full-fledged family. But my wife didn't give a damn about my words. By the way, she didn't even admit that she had someone. I couldn't believe this had happened to me. A week later, my wife writes to me that she wants romance. She asked me not to tell anyone about our divorce, and she will live with her mother for a while. I agreed and started arranging romantic evenings for my wife. But my wife was cold to me. I can't describe my feelings. I left work early and decided to put a bouquet of flowers in my wife's car. I bought flowers and went to the parking lot, which was located next to the place where my wife worked. But there was no car in the parking lot. I turned around and was about to leave when I suddenly noticed a car. My wife was driving, and a man was sitting next to her. I was shocked. Although my wife said she doesn't have anyone, I start calling my wife, but she doesn't answer the phone. After I got home, my wife called me back. She asks, "What did you want from me?" I asked what kind of man was that. She replied that it was an old acquaintance of hers. In a rage, I said that either you come back to me or we get divorced. My wife chose the second option. In 2016, my mother gave me a country house. I tell my wife that the country house will be sold because my grandmother needs money for an operation. She replied that she didn't need this house and I could do whatever I wanted. I took the car from her and drove away. She screamed after me that I was a bad person because she has to put my child on the bus. I replied that she had made her choice. In the evening, she calls me and said that she will sign everything that is necessary, but on condition that I leave the car to her. I agreed to make the deal successful. I thought I'd take the car back after the deal, but my wife decided to come back to me and I let her do it. On the same day, I came across a message that came to my wife. I quote, "Get off my husband, bitch." I asked my wife, "What is it?" My wife tells me that this man called and texted her on his own initiative. She only turned to him for help once when she punctured a tire on a car. I've looked through almost all the calls and incoming messages. She had never called him first. I decided to forget about this situation and save our family. It seems that everything has started to get better. After a while, we go to a corporate party together. At 2 o'clock in the morning, I say it's time for us to go home. I'm tired and I want to sleep, but my wife says no, let's sit here a little longer. It's already 3 o'clock in the morning. I say, let's go home. She starts to hysterical and says she's not going anywhere. I tried to calmly explain to my wife that it was too late. I came here for her and that was her wish, but my wife doesn't give a damn about me and my desires. As a result, I turned around, left her at the corporate party, and left. I wake up in the morning and my wife is still not at home. I start calling her, but she doesn't answer the phone. I started calling my wife's brother because I thought he had her, but she wasn't there. After a while, she texted me that she was staying with a friend in another city. I was at a loss and told her to go home. She replied that, no, I would come tomorrow. I was shocked by what I heard again. But after a while, she started writing to me, "I'm sorry, I love you," and so on. As a result, when my wife returned home, I noticed a hickey on her neck. According to her, she wanted to make me jealous. Her friend gave her this hickey. I'm sorry, we're drunken fools. I forced myself to believe her words. After a while, my wife went to a bar with a friend. At 12 o'clock in the morning, I call her. She replies that she is calling a taxi. I'm standing at the window waiting for my wife. Half an hour has passed, but she is still not there. Suddenly, I see a car drive up to our house and stop. I call my wife again and ask where she is. She replies that she is standing at a traffic light and will be home soon. After 5 minutes, the car drive around the corner of the house, stopped, and drove away. After another 3 minutes, my wife enters the house. I ask, why didn't the taxi driver give her a ride home? She replies that she decided to go out a little early and take a walk. At this point, I begin to have doubts. Winter has come, my wife says again that she will stay at work until 8 p.m. I said, "Okay, then I'll pick you up. The time is 8 hours." I'm writing to my wife, "Get ready, I'll come get you." She says, "No, take our children from my mother first." My children and I stayed with my mother-in-law, and my wife did not come home. The eldest daughter is always waiting for her mother and writes to her in WhatsApp. I see the eldest daughter was online at 3 a.m. My wife is online at 4 a.m. The next day I ask when you got home. She replies that she returned at 12 o'clock in the morning. I ask, why was she online on WhatsApp at 4 a.m.? According to her, our child corresponded not with her, but with her classmate. In the evening, my eldest daughter comes up to me and asks me to upload photos to my computer to free up memory on my phone. I take my daughter's mobile phone and see that the chat with her mother has been deleted. She didn't correspond with anyone else, but there was one message to her grandmother asking if her mom had spent the night at home. I knew something strange was going on. I'm depressed, and on Friday I want to have a beer at the bar with friends. My wife threw a tantrum and started packing her things. I couldn't stand it and told her that if you leave, don't come back. I went to the bar and came back the next morning. They were no longer at home. We were supposed to have a 6-year anniversary on the 11th. Before that, I told my wife that she had changed a lot for the worse. She agreed with me and said that she was just tired of family life. She also said didn't love me and so on. So I decided and filed for divorce. I turned to a good lawyer, but I was unlucky and she took my apartment away from me. But they left everything else to me. I live alone and help my children financially. I don't want to start a new relationship. Perhaps time will pass and I will change my mind. I started playing sports. The most interesting thing is that there are many people in the gym with a similar situation. It seemed to me that most of the people in the gym had experienced betrayal. By the way, I met a girl at the gym. She also recently broke up with her husband. We don't have anything serious, but we support each other. Perhaps our communication will grow into something serious. In general, I started a new life. I wish everyone who has experienced betrayal to start a new life. And don't repeat my mistakes. If your wife has left, don't let her come back. If you like this story, give it a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel so as not to miss new videos. Now let's move on to the opinion of the author of the channel. The opinion of the author of the channel. According to tradition, I want to wish strength and patience to our hero. After listening to your story, I saw that you realized your mistake. In no case should you show your soulmate that you suffer for her. You can't let her commit betrayal and come back to you. I'm sure that everything will get better for you. What you said about the gym make me smile. This is a coincidence. Most likely people do it for their health. But you did the right thing by deciding to change your life. This is a huge step forward and do not take a step back in any case. Good luck to everyone. If you have watched to the end, I want to say thank you very much. I love you all. Thank you for joining me on this exciting journey of love, betrayal, and redemption. I appreciate your support and encourage you to subscribe, like, and share this story. Your participation and feedback are invaluable for shaping our content and promoting mutual understanding and community growth. Until we meet again.